Let's talk about special needs child behavior problems. I'm Nicholeen Peck, and I teach all over the world about parenting, good communication, how to build strong family bonds, child development, and education, all through the lens of the principles self-government. I've also parented special needs children. In this video, we are talking about handling their behavior problems. I'm the mother of 4, but the previous foster parent of many, and most of those foster children that came into my home were neurodiverse and had different special needs. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. But in this video, I'm going to be talking about some of the behaviors special needs children display and what you can do as far as in a self-government way, what skills you can use to help conquer some of these behavior problems. Oftentimes when a person has a special needs child, they coddle them. I'm just going to say it. That's what happens. Why did people with special needs, neurodiversities, and such have to come and live with me and have therapeutic treatment? Well, sometimes it was because they were abused, but oftentimes it was because their parents or other people in their life did not know how to handle their behavior. And what had usually been the case was they had been coddled or sometimes ignored for a long time, and so they hadn't been given the training that they needed. So what we're going to talk about in this video is training, because every person, doesn't matter if they're neurodiverse, doesn't matter if they have a physical handicap, any type of special need, they need training for how to communicate their needs, how to function in the world so that they can be understood, so that they can understand other people and not have to live from an emotional place. Probably one of the biggest behavior problems that a special needs person or child has is being really emotional, like overly emotional. They shut down, they run away, they fight, they're aggressive, they hit themselves, they're angry, they yell, they have impulse control problems. All of this comes from this emotional fuel inside, which usually comes from fears or frustrations that they don't know how to solve. So they basically have an unmet need. The unmet need is they need skills to solve their problems. Otherwise, they're going to keep going to these emotional outbursts again and again. People are going to keep coddling to their emotions and their anxieties, trying to make their life so perfect that they'll never have any adaptation that they need to make, or that they'll never have any anxiety or changes. And as nice as that sounds, we shouldn't treat special needs children like China dolls. They're not going to break if they have to go through a hard time. They're not. Now, I know that sometimes it looks like they're going through a break when they have a meltdown or something like that, but you can prepare them for success. And that's the key when it comes to self-government. It's that proactive teaching. Now, you might say, listen, Nicholeen, they're on a really low IQ level. I don't know if they can learn this. False. Everybody can learn the self-government skills. Everyone can. And I started teaching them to my children when they were like, a year or 2, but my children started teaching their babies to get calm and learn what calmness was when they were like 4, 6 months old. The children started learning how to take deep breaths. Were they perfect at it? No, but they started teaching them. If you can teach a 4-month-old or a 6-month-old who can't even talk or form complete sentences, you can teach your special needs child how to regulate, get calm, how to learn principles of self-government. So what are the skills and principles of self-government? These children's books here each teach one of the 4 basic skills of self-government. We'll talk about these first. So they teach the skills following instructions, accepting no answers and criticism, accepting consequences, and disagreeing appropriately. If a person learns the skill set to these 4 basic skills, that actually takes care of the majority of their behavior problems. Now, sometimes some children, especially special needs children, do have a hard time with self-regulation and really getting themselves out of that fight or flight part of their brain, because they usually have a fast track to get there. And so sometimes we need to have some good adult skills to help them remember to use these skills in the moment. But also there's ways that you can teach them about brain cues and what they're feeling or experiencing so that they don't choose to go all the way to the back brain and they go to their front brain, their thinking brain instead. In fact, I have another set of children's books called The Calm Crew. It's a set of 3 books. You buy them together as a set. That's the only way you can get them. And all these things are on my website, teachingselfgovernment.com. By the way, that's where they're the cheapest. Those Calm Crew books are books that teach them about how their brain works, how to regulate, and how to make a plan to not go completely out of instructional control. So they have an unmet need, which is skill development. How are these skills going to help them? Let's just start with a few of them. This isn't the video to go into a full training on every single one, but let's just talk maybe about accepting a no answer, because that's going to be hard. When you have a special needs child, they get a little bit fixated sometimes on a certain outcome or what they think is going to happen. And when it doesn't happen, that's essentially like hearing a no answer about something. And that's when the meltdowns start to occur. So what are the steps to accepting a no answer? You look at the person or the situation, you keep a calm face, voice, and body. You say, okay, or you ask to disagree appropriately, and then you drop the subject. So all of those steps have to happen for a person to be able to accept a no answer or something that is a disappointment to them. If they don't do one of those skills, then the parent has to be prepared to do some training on what happened, what should have happened, help them get to a place where they can recognize when they need to use their skill of accepting a no answer. Special needs children can also learn how to disagree appropriately. I know that sounds like a complex skill, but they absolutely can do it. Even my grandchildren that are just tiny, that are still using mostly sign language with their communication, they have basic disagree appropriately interactions that they can do. In fact, there's a video on this channel, I forget the name of it, but it's something like baby disagrees appropriately or something like that. And you can see my granddaughter disagreeing appropriately when she was really little. So go ahead and look for that. Consistency in parenting, calmness in parenting are vital for helping special needs children conquer those behavior problems. So what you need to do is teach them ahead of time exactly what words you will use for correction. And I've got a script for you. If you don't know what works so that you don't get emotional, then get the help that you need. I can definitely prepare you for that. If you can learn the script for how to do an effective self-government correction, that's going to be really beneficial. But when they go completely out of instructional control, depending on their age, you're going to want to learn how to do intensive teaching. I talk about that in my book, The Power of Calm. Also go through all of the skills and principles in my book, Parenting a House United. You can find all of those things on my website, teachingselfgovernment.com. But something else that you can do as a parent to help your more anxious special needs child is to do pre-teaching. That means that you prepare them ahead of time for something that's coming. This is vital. The more that you can pre-teach your child, the more successful they will be. So develop the skill of pre-teaching. You can learn it on my next video, which is the not-so-known secret for parenting success. It'll go into pre-teaching as well as all of the skills that I've talked about in this video so far. Click on the link to that video next. I'll see you there.